What is up, guys? This is TCG Sam here, and welcome to the second season of the Yugituber deck breakdown, which I have now renamed to just the Yu-Gi-Oh deck breakdown. And like last season, I'm going to be showcasing some of your favorite Yugitubers decks and seeing how well they perform, and seeing if they actually are any good, or if the Yugitubers themselves actually haven't tested enough with the deck. So in this very first episode of Season 2, I'm going to be covering TeamSamuraiX1's hero deck, which he uploaded on his channel around a month or so ago, just at the beginning of the new March 2021 format. And some changes to this series this season around is I'm just going to be showing the deck list very quickly at the beginning, and then hopping straight into the duel, and then right after the duel I'm going to be doing my in-depth analysis on the deck and what I think about it, its strengths, its weaknesses, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, with that being said, why don't we just hop straight into a duel and let's see what happens. Alright, so hopping straight into the duel, we tie the rock, paper, scissors, we tie it again, and then I actually lose the rock, paper, scissors, which is totally fine because we wanted to go second anyways. And it turns out we're actually playing against what looks like pure Zoo with just a bunch of hand traps. So what he does, he starts with Barrage, activates Barrage, and right off the bat, I think it's a little greedy to just activate Barrage, just to get this Thoroughblade effect, because here if I Gamma him, which, like, he just passes turn with absolutely nothing, no forms of interruption pretty much other than these hand traps. I think it's a little greedy for him to go for this, but it is what it is. It works out for him. Just Ice Dragon's Prison, and he's able to just do his regular Zoo combo, setting 2, passing. Drawing for turn, our hand is pretty good. We have the Ferris Mali combo, which is super powerful. Special summon Ferris, he chains Imperm, I chain Mass Change, and then he chains Ice Dragon's Prison to get rid of my Ferris and my Mali from the graveyard, which is just unfortunate. But it's okay, we still have Vion. Normal summoning Vion effect, sending Shadow Mist effect. He's going to chain Lancia there, so main deck Lancia is a problem because Shadow Mist would have allowed us to search for a card like Evil Hero Dusted Gold if we wanted to, but in this case we just searched Stratos for a follow-up during the next turn. And going to the battle phase, I wanted to test if he would give me credit for having Honest Neos, or if he knew about Honest Neos. So for that reason I decided to swing with Vion. He actually does have a response dice to pop it. That's why I chained Mass Change, turning it into a copy of our Anki. And I guess you could say it's a little greedy here going for Anki, getting the effect of Search the Mass Change, because yes, it loses to the singular Gamma. The only card it lost to there was Gamma. So it's just really unfortunate that he did have the Gamma, because I could have just made Dark Law, swung over it, and still had a Dark Law. But I guess in a way it was okay, because this puts him on a 1-turn clock anyways, because next turn I have so much advantage with just the Stratos and the increase on the field. We can see the Cypherings don't get banished because of Lancia, which is super huge for him, because he at least gets an Omega to play with, otherwise he'd be playing with nothing pretty much. So that's Ice Dragon Prison pass. I normal summon Stratos, search a Dusted Gold. I activate a Dusted Gold effect. I do this because I know it's going to bait out Omega for sure, and I really don't care about any card in my hand. I just need to get rid of the Omega on the board right now, so I can know what I'm working with increase later on. He Omegas me, rips the Lightning Storm, I believe, which is totally okay with me. It was dead anyways. Starting off with increase effect, and this you can see here is like kind of like the power of like the 1-card combos of heroes. We can see if that increase from last turn plus the Stratos from this turn, like, we're gonna see what it's gonna end us with. We're sending Shadow Mist with Vion, activating Vion effect, banishing Shadow Mist, adding Polymerization, activating Polymerization, fusing away Liquid Soldier plus increase into a copy of our Sunrise. And here you can see I'm going for a chain of cards that get me to more and more fusion spells, just because of how important fusion spells are in this deck. Kind of like Shaddolls, without the fusion spells, this deck doesn't really do too much. For that reason, I felt like it was necessary to do that. Thankfully, we draw Red Reboot. It allows us to play around his Ice Dragon's Prison, which he hasn't used. And this pretty much just seals the deal, because we're able to make our Absolute Zero. We're able to make our Malicious Bane, going straight to battle phase. He activates Ice Dragon Prison, I activate Red Reboot, and we just win from there. Going into game 2, he makes me go second, which is totally fine with me. My opening hand is alright. I have Solid Soldier, Stratos, Call by the Grave, plus an Ash, which is decent. We can see his hand is also really good. He has a Pointer and 2 forms of interruption. I start with Twin Twisters. Maybe it's a little foolish to do so, but the reason I do that is because I saw traps like Impermanence, Ice Dragon's Prison last last game, and I assume he might be citing something like Judgment or Strike or Warning. So I also figured, not like 9 times out of 10, or not 9 times out of 10, but like a good amount of the time, it's not going to be a chainable trap card. It's going to be a trap card I need to get rid of. Worst case scenario, I figured in my head it was either something like Eldritch and Eldritch Scarlet Sanguine that I didn't know about, but it turns out he actually sided in opponent of Red Lotus, which is unfortunate because he takes out our only play for the turn, leaving us just to set Call by the Grave, adding Stratos passing. He stacks a bunch of materials onto his Trident, makes a copy of Zeus, and here I forget to use Increase, although I don't think it really matters in the end, because we normal summon Solid Soldier, special summon Stratos, effective Stratos, adding Honest Neos, and then from here, even if we had a card like Increase, if we tried to use it, he just chained Zeus anyways, and it wouldn't have mattered. We go battle phase, he activates Zeus, I chain Callby on his Ram. There's just not much I can do. But you can see here, the reason I felt it was okay, because I realized at this point he was playing pure Zeus with all the hand traps and Pot of Avarice that he showed, because Zeus Eldritch doesn't play Pot of Avarice. So I could deduce that he was playing pure Zeus. And for that reason, I know that he can't really kill me very quickly, so it was okay just to pass. After ashing his Tenki, he gets his Zeus to swing, activate, increase, summoning it back, and here's where the problems begin. This deck actually does have a very, very hard time outing Zeus. Like, I've looked at the deck for a while, I really don't see how this deck outs Zeus without going into battle phase and forcing out with Honest Neos, because there's really no other way if this deck can do anything to Zeus. I activate Stratos, he chains Ash. I activate Increase, he chains Zeus. Honestly, not much I can do there. Here, I don't know what he was doing. He had Monster Reborn to Reborn Stratos and attack for game. But like, I guess he got like really greedy and just wanted to make like the Infinite Track for fun or something, sucking up my Increase and making it Trident. But like, this way he gave me an extra turn for no reason, because, for example, if this is a Stratos and I drew a Dark Ruler no more, then honestly he'd just be in such a bad spot. But I also think he wanted to be a little greedy with Avarice and just shuffle things back to draw. But either way, it doesn't really make sense to me, because alright, so sorry for the weird cut there. Something went wrong with the recording, but we actually did end up losing the second game, as you guys could probably tell, and we're moving on to the third game, where we opted to go second, and our opening hand was decent with Ferris and Mist, plus an Ash and Twin Twisters. Our opponent has Judgment, Ice Dragon's Prison, Rapier, Driver, and Avarice. Over summoning the Rapier, sending combo, and then just setting 2 passing. I activate Twin Twisters, targeting his back row. He changed Judgment, leaving himself with the Ice Dragon's Prison. And here is where I make the misplay. I search a Malicious with the Shadow Mist, and I think this play was just incorrect, because it fully commits everything onto this one Ferris. And whatever, like, I've already seen him to have Ice Dragon's Prison, and this way, if I Ferris discard Malicious and I activate Increase from the deck, and he just Ice Dragon's Prison me, I just pretty much lose from there. So definitely should have searched Stratos with the Shadow Mist, because that way we can just discard Increase with Ferris and then force out the Ice Dragon's Prison, and at the very least still have a Stratos play as a follow-up. Even if the Stratos isn't really gonna let us combo that well, that was still definitely the correct play. This was a huge misplay, like I said before. I activate the Increase, and now I can't even normal summon Increase and try to Increase, because his Trident is just gonna pop the Increase, and then from there, like, there's just not much I can do. I think that was my one turn to actually get something going. Maybe set up a copy of like Malicious Bane somehow by discarding Honest Neos and trying to do that. But even then, like, I just felt like I was just in such a bad spot. There's just really not much I can do. He activates he sets Ice Dragon's Prison, and now he has a Zeus. And from here, I really don't think we were able to do anything. You can see we draw off another Ferris, which is just terrible because both of our increases are in play. There's just not much I can do here. Like I mentioned before, I just pass and he swings with Thunder. Activate Reinforcement of the Army, adding Vion. Here I add Vion because I try to add Polymerization just to get any Fusion Sword or Fusion play going. But I normal Vion, send Mist. Mist is going to add a Dusted Gold. And the reason I added Dusted Gold, like I said before, is trying to get all those Fusion spells. Because every single Fusion spell, in theory, should be able to beat Bait 1 Thunder, Sky Thunder effect. Because the fusions like Malicious Bane are able to destroy it. and my other fusions are just able to beat over it. But on resolution, he activates Ice Dragon's Prison again, and it's just super unfortunate because there's just nothing I can really do to stop it. He chains the Zeus to my Ferris for some reason, which doesn't really make sense to me, because all he really has to do then is, all he would do after is just, if he was gonna do that play, he should have just thundered like Zeus right here to get rid of my Ferris. But like, because this way it makes him waste 2 more extra materials with Zeus. And once again, I try to go for the play where I swing over with the Honest Neos, but he actually gives me credit once again for having the 1 of Honest Neos, which is crazy. But I mean, I guess a good read on his part. But that was pretty much my only way of ever beating the Zeus. And it turns out, unfortunately, that he was able to stop it. Top decks tanky again, I ashed it, and then I just take another 3k. And activate increase here, and all I can really do is hope for like Dark Ruler no more. And we actually do draw Dark Ruler no more. And at this point I was like, oh, I'm actually able to try to do something. I activate Dark Ruler no more. And then from here's where it gets interesting, because in my head I was thinking I lose to Ash either way. But if I go for the Adjusted Gold play, discarding itself, adding a Dark Fusion, destroying the Zeus, this way I'm able to put him kind of like on a 1-turn clock, because if he doesn't draw a Zoo monster by then, I'm just able to beat him down with Honest Neos and the effect of and the attack from Malicious Bane. But on the other hand, I also play around a card like Lancia. What I should have done is just like I was saying, is just to normal summon Adjusted Gold and then activate increase, sending it, special summoning it, effect summon Vion. Vion dumps like anything, like a Shadow Mist or something, searching something. But then even then, he would activate Lancia right then, and then I wouldn't be able to add Polymerization. So I think either way, I think I was still losing this game because I'd have no fusion spell regardless. But let me know, if you guys are hero players, let me know what you would have done in this situation. It was just a really bad situation that we really had no way to get around. He activates Lancia, and I just concede from there because there's nothing I can do. I played to my outs, I think, but there's honestly not much I can do. And yeah, that's going to do it for the duel. Stay tuned. I'm going to be talking about the deck in the post-duel analysis in just a sec. So I'll see you guys there. Alright, so after that duel, you guys could see that we actually ended up losing to pure Zeus with just a bunch of back row and the Zodiac cards. And of course, I think this highlights a few important things about the deck. I think, as you guys saw in Game 1, this deck has a lot of powerful, like, one-card combos, and just a lot of powerful cards that generate you so much advantage. You can see all the fusions we were able to get out just from doing our regular plays. We were able to bring out all those big monsters that kept getting us more and more advantage. So cards like Sunrise for Miracle Fusion, Shadow Mist for Mass Change, all that stuff. Honestly, we were just able to just outspeed our opponent with all the resources we were getting from our hero cards. We were just able to put a bunch of big bodies on board and kill them. But I think in Game 2 and 3, it showed some very key weaknesses of this deck, that being its inability to deal with a card like Zeus. You can see that no matter what we did, we were just unable to beat Zeus, especially when it had like more than just 2 materials. We were just pretty much unable to ever just beat the Zeus unless we specifically had an out for it, like Dark Ruler No More or Lightning Storm. But unfortunately, we were not able to see any of those until it was too late. But I think that's a big problem for this deck because, honestly, Zeus is a big part of this format. A lot of decks to make it. And Zeus is just one of the most prevalent engines in the meta right now. The fact that it struggles with Zeus because it doesn't have any way to force it out before the battle phase, except with a card like Malicious Bane. Or you have to hard draw a card like Dark Ruler or Lightning Storm. You have to go battle phase and try to bluff your opponent with Elemental Hero Honest Neos or hard draw the one of. Like you saw that we actually did have it, but our opponent just gave us credit for it every single time, and we were unable to actually out the Zeus by battle. And that is just a huge problem. Like I said, that's one of the key weaknesses of the deck, but like I mentioned before, like the strength of it is that there are a lot of good one-card combos, like Emergency Call, Stratos, Ferris. Like these cards by themselves are just super powerful. A Hero Lives, like these just give you so much advantage. They pretty much tutor you into your full combo, allowing you just to go off and set up a bunch of fusion monsters or sit behind a Dark Claw. Ultimately, however, I think a few changes I would make to this deck. First of all, I cut it down to 40. I just think 40, you definitely need the consistency. the deck does have a lot of bricks too, so like double increase, I would like to cut it down to 1, although it's a little risky because if you do draw that one of your Ferris is completely dead, although I guess you can make the argument that 1 increase is definitely fine because it's kind of like the Brilliant Fusion mentality where you only want to play 1 Garnet, but in this deck specifically, since the Ferris engine is so integral to like the whole part of the deck, like you always want to search it off of Stratos to get your play started, you can make the argument to play double increase because you absolutely need Ferris to resolve to summon to get increase from your deck. So for that reason, I think keeping it at this ratio is fine, but I definitely just cut the red reboot, move it to the side deck, keep it a clean 40. Another big problem is he only plays 4 hand traps, which definitely is not enough in my opinion. If anything, I think these Lightning Storms should be allocated to the side deck. 3 more hand traps get into the main deck, be it, I don't know, you can put in like another Ash, another Nibiru, and then, I don't know, a Pankratops, or something like that. You just need more hand traps, honestly, to compete in this meta. Like, I know it's not really Sam's fault because at the time he released his deck profile, the meta wasn't really defined. He didn't know it was going to be meta, and this was probably like a decent meta call at the very beginning of the format. But now that the format's progressed by a lot, we can see that Dragon Link, Zodiac, Eldritch, Shaddolls are like some of the top tier decks right now. You definitely need hand traps against those decks, as opposed to a card like Lightning Storm. You can definitely main deck Dark Ruler no more. I think that's totally fine. You can, and even if you're not able to kill them, you're still able to clear their board with Malicious Bane, and then set up either your Absolute Zero into Acid combo or your Dark Law, hopefully. So I think honestly that is what makes this deck really, really good, because of a card like Dark Law that no other deck really has access to. If you're able to consistently get Dark Law out, you're just pretty much set. But unfortunately, you can see that we were never able to make Dark Law because we just had to hard draw the mass change, or we had to go through this almost kind of like convoluted combo just to get access to the Shadow Mist special summoning. We had to specifically use Liquid Soldier or Solid Soldier to bring it back, or hard draw the one of Hero list, just because it's so hard to special summon Shadow Mist be it from your hand or your graveyard. You absolutely need cards like Solid Soldier or Liquid Soldier, which does make it a little unfortunate because mass change is a really integral part of this deck. So yeah, those are just some of my thoughts on the deck. Just to recap, overall I think it has a lot of power, a lot of OTK potential, and very, very powerful standalone cards. But then the downsides of it struggles with dealing with some cards because of its inability to deal with the cards on the monsters on the field without going to the battle phase. That's a very, very big problem for this deck. So making Dreaded harder to out, making Zeus harder to out, and probably making Winda harder to out theoretically too, because in reality you're only out to Winda is Honest Neos going to battle phase. So that is a very, very big problem for this deck. Being the inability to out monsters, a little bit of consistency issues, even like because you realistically, even though you have all these starters, you just have all these kind of like clunky cards you don't really want to draw unless you have other cards with them. So like Increase, of course, I don't know, I guess we were just unlucky we kept drawing it every single game. But even cards like Liquid Soldier, Honest Neos, Solid Soldier, without other cards, like these cards just don't do anything by themselves, which is a big problem for the deck. I would consider bumping Vion up to 3 because in some sense, Vion is like a pseudo starter. It's not as good as Stratos, of course, but even Vion sending a card like Shadow Mist and adding a Stratos for follow-up is like better than just a hard drawing like a Liquid Soldier just not doing anything. So overall, change that I'd make to this deck, definitely just cut the red reboot. This is just a random side deck I threw together. You guys can change it however you like. Extra deck is alright, although that's another weakness of this deck. It doesn't have any sort of utility in its extra deck aside from its core engine. And like a lot of these, like most of your extra deck is locked behind you drawing a fusion spell or searching a fusion spell, which makes it a little problematic because your only links are kind of just restrictive, very, very restrictive and very situation specific. Because like what I mean by that is like you don't have cards like Nightmare Phoenix or something because of the restrictions like Varus puts on you. So this is really unfortunate. This deck doesn't really have any sort of utility in this extra deck. But even then, I'm just gonna give my final verdict. I think overall the deck build is pretty solid. I would up the hand trap count a little, just for this format. Like take out the Lightning Storms, up the hand traps. I'm not an avid hero player, so I assume these ratios seem pretty decent to me. You have a lot of one-ups that are good to search, but like I said before, they kind of suck to draw. You want to maximize the amount of starters you have, which I think he did a decent job of. I just left the Bion by 1 because it's in a way a pseudo starter. But yeah, overall, very, very decent deck. I know it's a lot of fun. Unfortunately though, I don't think it's one of the top contenders just because of the issues that I mentioned before. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What do you think of this deck? I know I probably made a few misplays in the duels because I'm not familiar with the deck, but overall I felt like that I played fine. I played to my outs in game 3. I really don't think there was much else differently I could have done to out the Zeus, but with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, because it really helps keep me motivated to keep posting more videos like this. And let me know what Yugituber you would like to see next in this series. Let me know whose deck I should look at next, and I'll see if I can get around to it. But with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.